Alrighty. Good morning, everybody. Let's do a quick little mic check. How's this? You guys hear me all right? 1, 2, 3. Little check here. Throw me if I don't see any thumbs down, a heart from Hushu. All right, then I'm gonna take away from that you guys hear me just fine. Oh, look at that! Lots of thumbs up. All right, cool. Good morning, everybody. It's great to see so many folks joining so early. We've been live for 3 minutes, so yeah, great to have everybody here. Looking forward to our third episode here on the weekly spaces over at League of Traders. Like I said, good to see a full house, lots of new faces, lots of recurring listeners here today. Very excited for today's panel. We're talking about a really relevant topic, something that every trader and every Web3 user in general cares about, right? Which is what tokens actually make it after they launch. What's the secret behind a token that actually works? What's the secret behind a token that is able to sustain its own value? And what differentiates them from those who cannot? I'm looking to learn a lot in this space. This obviously there's no camera here, but I've got my little notepad ready. I'm going in, no ego, very excited to learn from people who are a lot smarter than myself. Of course, I'm not hosting on my own. I think we've got co-host Asma here as well. Asma, let's do a quick little mic check as well, if everything's working on your end.
Hello, hello. Yes, I think we're all good here.
Amazing. Look at that. How are you doing?
I'm
All
doing
good?
all good. Yes. How are you doing, Rick?
Yeah, perfectly fine. You're not going to believe it, but I'm wearing 2 blankets and a hot water bottle because my heating broke. Can you believe that?
Amazing timing.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Well, I hope you stay warm during today's space because we can't have you too cold. We need you focused.
Exactly. Eyes on the prize. Well, you'll keep the conversation warm when I'm refilling my water bottle in 20 minutes from now, all right?
I'll do my best.
Perfect. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and run circles for a bit, trying to get the rest of the panel on board. In the meantime, would you be so kind to run a quick little introduction for those that are new to League of Traders?
Absolutely. So we do have a big space planned for today, so I don't want to take too much time on this. But for those of you who might not be familiar with us, for those of you who are here for the first time, hi, my name is Asma. I am the communications manager at League of Traders, and I'll be your co-host for today. So if you're unfamiliar with League of Traders, I'm just going to do a quick little explanation of what we do, who we are. So we're a social trading platform, actually the leading social trading platform in Korea, and hopefully eventually, the number one in the world, sure. So yeah, in the simplest of terms, we do like to introduce League of Traders as like Instagram for traders. So we have a lot of social features that you can utilize, but we also have some features that basically make League of Traders your best friend as a trader. So our multi-exchange portfolio, copy trading, for example, you can see other user portfolios, drop in, see if they're making money, see if they're losing money, whatever it is that is helpful to you in that moment. That's what we like to do at League of Traders. I would love to explain every feature that we have, but I do think it's best for you to just go on the website or download the app, create an account, and so you can see the magic for yourself of how great how great it is to have a trading best friend, if you will. So yeah, we have over 150,000 users. About 85% of them are Korean, but we are expanding globally as well. And our most recent feature is the trader map, which basically has users competing to see who creates the most trading volume for a specific token. And we offer a big prize pool, of course, to sweeten the deal. It's great because, the projects get to have authentic token volume and a higher liquidity, and it's all generated by real traders. And in turn, the community is also rewarded for their support. So yeah, we just launched the ACU trader map just last week. It's going great so far. If you are interested, if you think you got what it takes, please check it out. Go to our page and you'll find it very quickly. So yeah. So far, all of the trader maps have generated upwards of $100 million in organic trading volume. So we have nothing to complain about there. And we do vet every project, and we have a bit of a waiting list, but that's also nothing to complain about. So all in all, that's briefly what we do at League of Traders. But we have so much more to show you. Thank you so much again to everyone who's listening. And yeah, I think Rick should be done refilling his water bottle so he can take the reins again.
Oh yeah, nice and warm, keeping comfortable. All right, perfect. That's what. Thank you so much. Yeah, and like you mentioned, we've got a great panel lined up for today. So why don't we do the rounds? Why don't we get introduced real quick? Lots of stuff to go over today. But obviously let's do that once we know who the hell we're talking with, right? I'll tell you now, I'm excited to hear from these guys. This is not your typical Web3 lineup. We've got some very interesting speakers. I would love to start with Carlos from What to Trade. Definitely, someone that is, known in the Web2, electricity trading, community, which is a totally different angle than what we've discussed, on these panels so far. Yeah, very much, well connected with the Mexican, government, been on live TV a couple of times, actually seen some of these segments. So super honored having you here with us today. Please, sir, could you do a quick little introduction to yourself and the product, that you've set up?
Yes, of course, Rick. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you guys. Thank you for the time and the space. So basically, What to Trade is the first and only decentralized marketplace for electricity trading where people can buy, sell, and trade real electricity just like stocks and commodities. We will be talking more about it, but that's basically. Thank you very much, Rick, Asla, for the space, and I'm sure we're going to get a lot of insights today. Thank you, guys.
Perfect, man. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Cool. Let's keep it coming. So we've got, Lumera as well. I think this would be Vincent on the mic. Good morning to you. Must be pretty early over in the States.
Yes, this is. Hi, my name is Vincent, VP of Growth at Lumera Protocol. We're a layer one built off of the Cosmos SDK, building basically decentralized infrastructure. So for those of you that are interested in, decentralized permanent storage as well as, decentralized compute, you should definitely come check us out. We're running a lot of, marketing initiatives. We launched mainnet last year in September, and we are actually in the process of working on getting our first centralized exchange listing in Q1 of this year. So for those who want to get in early and as well as learn more about us, as well as earn some Lumera tokens through that process, come follow us on Twitter. Come join our Boundary program as well.
Yeah, and what a huge milestone that is. So big congratulations to you guys for getting Lumera to the point where it is now. You guys have been in this space for so long. Actually went through a rebrand as well. So yeah, actually years you guys have been here. So it's an honor having you guys on the panel today. Definitely some alpha there for all of our interested individuals that might want to have a look at that. Really cool stuff. Thank you, Vincent, for taking the time and getting up out of bed early for us today. It's good to see. All right. Last but not least, we've got Aegis. Good to have you guys on as well. Let's do a quick little introduction.
Yeah, great. I think I'm looking at the lineup. Ermin's account is not accepted here. But yeah, from the main accounts mix here, we're building yield-bearing stable coins. I think that's probably the short and sweet intro about us.
Well, my friend, that is very short and sweet. Well, I love it. I'm all for efficiency. Good to see, man. Good to see. All right. And then, of course, unfortunately, the boys from Sonar, weren't able to make it today. So we're going to be hosting, with this lineup for today. But like I said, more than enough amazing brains, to pick from. So why don't we go ahead and get started, guys? We've got about 50 minutes. Our goal, as per usual, is to get as much value over to our community, but also to you as a panelist. We want to make this show fun and interactive. We do this every single week, same time, same day. So give us and everybody else on the panel a quick little follow, to not miss out on any of these events. So without further ado, right, we're talking about, TGEs. That's, that's what we're talking about today. And it's been a hot topic, from SEX listings to decentralized exchange listings across the board. It's been a shaky year. We've definitely seen some massive success stories come past our timelines, which is good to see. But of course, a lot of the opposite as well, right? And being a trading product, a community of traders, one of the pieces of value that we want to zoom in on today is what actually makes a token launch a success, right? There's so many components that you have to look at when you go to market. And today on the panel, we've got a lot of projects that are gearing up for their own launch, right? I think Lumera might have the most experience here, but everybody is currently in their own preparation phase, if you will. So I would love to pick your brains here and to talk about the common flaws that cause a lot of TGEs in recent times to perhaps underperform, and particularly what is your ideas about circumventing this, right? How do you want to do it differently? How do you see launches in 2026 becoming more successful? And what are some elements that you are going to stay very far away from, or the opposite, to make sure that you're launching successfully? Why don't we kick things off with Aegis, actually, because I'm not exactly certain. You had a very efficient introduction, but I'm not exactly certain when you guys are actually planning to launch. So maybe give some alpha there, what you guys have in mind, and share your thoughts.
Yeah, covering Ermin for today, I guess. But yeah, for us, we haven't launched yet. The plan is to go live with. Yeah. Also, sorry for the background noise. I'm in the office. I wasn't planning to be one of the speakers. But anyways, our plan is to launch in Q1 this year. Regarding the mechanics and sort of the details, we're still evaluating like all the options between going through the ICO or going potentially using Uniswap's solution, or potentially going without the centralized exchange listing. So I guess probably from this space we'll take some interesting notes from others and get the insights from what everyone else is doing. But yeah, for me personally, kind of outside from Aegis and outside what we're building, I quite like what MetaDAO is doing and the model they are bringing to the market. And I believe that's from the market, at least the past months, that has been the most successful models in terms of launching token. So effectively bringing the IP or bringing the value to the token holders in a whole nother level.
It's good you bring that up. And by the way, if there's somebody else I should pull on the stage, because I know there was someone else supposed to speak from your end, so let me know if that is the case. But it's a good thing you bring up MetaDAO, right? They have sort of taken the space by storm and said, instead of raising 3 mil and giving it to the founders directly, which then proceed to instantly buy a private island, a private helicopter, a Lamborghini, and off into the sunset they go. We're going to drizzle, some of these funds on a monthly allowance, locked by certain KPIs that they need to hit. So that's what you, of course, alluded to. I really like that concept, right? Keeping founders accountable. And I'm sure this will be a big step in the right direction for some of these TGEs, right? A lot of founders talk about, they want to work with people that have skin in the game. But a founder doesn't have skin in the game unless, they're also held accountable by how they're, managing the product. And if they just raise their money and it's done, you fill in the blanks, right? How excited is that founder going to be, and how many of those are just going to walk away with the money? So I love that take. That's the short version. Let's hear it from Vincent, maybe from Lumera. So you guys are also moving towards a launch here in quarter one. What are some steps that you guys are taking to make sure this is becoming a success?
Yeah, for sure. I think traditionally a lot of projects, they always try to gun for these tier one exchanges. But I don't know how much people know about this, but typically these tier one exchanges, they ask for a lot from these teams, especially when it comes to token supply and things of that nature. So it's often the case that on day one, unfortunately, these these exchanges will dump on these projects to get recoup costs or whatever the case may be, lock in profits. And as a result of that, from a psychological perspective, like when you see a chart just has like a giant red candle going down on the first day, it's pretty hard for the project to recover. My personal opinion is that it's probably better to list on tier two exchanges and then have a slower gradual rise over time. By doing so, it instills a lot more confidence in the community as well as other people that don't necessarily know too much about the project and they're just kind of peering in from the sidelines. And eventually you'll get listed on these tier one exchanges once they see the growth that you've received on your network, generally speaking. And so that way, kind of mitigates those kind of risks. But I do know like a lot of these projects, they want to have a huge splash, have big names, all listed and whatnot. But I think if you're thinking more, 2 to 3 years, 4 years, 5 years out, and more of the long-term health of the project, I actually think, going for a tier one exchange right off the rip is not necessarily, the best way per se. And I think it's also really important, to just foster a strong community before your centralized exchange listing. Giving people the opportunity to participate, to basically learn about the project, and also, having, tangible features in your network is also very important. For example, like for us, we launched Cascade on our mainnet, which is our decentralized permanent storage, protocol, on our network. And, people can actively upload files to the network so they actually can see like, oh, okay, this actually works. This is how it's done. I have a firsthand experience with it. It's not, just developers connecting to some, API and then, doing all this coding. It's kind of like very familiar feeling where it's like Dropbox-esque or like, Google's cloud storage where, you select your files, you pay for it and then boom, it's on the network. You can retrieve it any time. And I think all these things kind of, instill further confidence in the long-term aspect of a project. And of course, having partnerships and whatnot all kind of feed into that as well. But aside from that, I would say also having multiple sources of, like both centralized exchange listings as well as, DeFi avenues. That way it services, both, I guess the very serious, crypto traders as well as, people who are maybe not as comfortable using decentralized exchanges and they want to just, simply acquire tokens through a normal exchange.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned this, right? We spoke about it at least once before on one of our previous editions, right? Which is centralized exchange listings can work really well, but you need to do them the right way. So Lumera specifically, right? You mentioned you are going to be moving with a centralized exchange, but if I understand it correctly, what you're saying is we're going with something that you would describe as then tier two, because it generates less sell pressure at launch. Is that well understood?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
did I just butcher
Yeah,
it?
no,
Okay.
that's pretty accurate. I would say like even though these are tier two, like they're still very big names and well known in the industry, but not necessarily the likes of Binance or Bybit or OKX and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Would you say that a project still gets the same value from a quote unquote lower tier exchange, right? Say you don't, let's not talk about Binance because that is an island in and of itself, right? But the difference between any other tier one exchange versus a tier two exchange, what's the actual difference that it makes for the product, other than the fact that they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars extra, more tokens? Would you say there is, in your opinion, a benefit to being listed on one of these platforms?
I think there's a mutual synergy. At the end of the day, a lot of these, I guess well, I don't want to really call them tier two because they're still big names, but they're just maybe one step below, these super big name ones. They all have incentive for you to get eventually listed on Binance and things like that because, if they're supporting you right now, they also want to see your token appreciation grow over time and then ultimately generate more trading volume, right? So they're also very much aligned with the team on, okay, how do we support you guys to get the attention of these, tier one exchanges without necessarily, offering up like a large token supply in the process. So they also provide a lot of help in terms of like marketing initiatives, trading competitions or all sorts of campaigns to basically help drive the awareness and also drive the trading volume of your token. And then ultimately, hopefully that will, garner the attention of these larger exchanges and then eventually get listed, which also then benefits them in the long run. And yeah, they also help with offline activities like offline events and things like that. And all of that helps.
Yeah, it really does. I think, Asma, maybe you can talk a bit more about that, right? But I mean, I know that League of Traders does a lot of offline events as well, which have been quite successful, right? It's definitely something different. You can tell the difference between, just an online trading event versus, offline events. It's really a different atmosphere.
Absolutely. Hosting offline events allows us to understand our community in a whole different way. Especially because, most of our users are Korean, so it's a very specific niche group of people, and we want them to actually be part of our community beyond just following us on socials or whatever it is. We want them to understand exactly how our project works, and also most importantly, believe in this project. The TGE is like just one part of the big picture for us. And we have a lot more that we want our users to involve themselves in when it comes to League of Traders. So yeah, holding these events is really cool, just for community growth and expansion and all that, but also just understanding who are the faces of the people who are using our product and who are investing their time and energy in this community as well.
I should really be attending one of these. It's just Korea has such a long flight. Am I just being lazy, guys? That's such a long flight.
It is, yes. I totally understand. It's not easy to get here, but once you're here, it's a whole new world.
It's totally worth it. Well, you know what? I'll keep that in mind. Do we have anything on the roadmap, or it's kind of more sporadic that you guys host them?
It's definitely a bit more sporadic. We do have to be like there's a lot that we have to be kind of aware about, especially because some of our team travel when it comes to other events, in other countries. But this year, I think we definitely want to host some more events. We are really looking forward to that. So if anyone plans on being in Korea, please let us know. We'd love to host you or hang out, if anything.
Hell yeah, I love it. Cool stuff. Yeah, let's not forget about Carlos. Let's pass down the mic. Carlos, you guys, actually you didn't talk about it before, but I know you guys are gearing up for something big, right? There's the new portal that's going to be going live. You guys really are shaping up to bring electricity trading to the masses now. It's finally time. But that will come with a TGE as well. So I would love to hear your thoughts. How do you guys approach it? What do you guys want to do different? Or do you just want to do what everybody else is doing, which might be the right way to go as well? Just what are your thoughts?
Yes, Rick, thank you very much. So let me start backwards, Rick, because from our perspective, we wanted to have a functional market, a functional product that is solving a real problem, a real need for people outside. So that's why we started creating the platform. Currently, we have live on our exchange that it's fully live. People can go. It's the first and only real-time electricity exchange that it's outside, and it's super cool. It's super easy to use it. And also we created our wallet. So we created a product that is functional, that is attracting real users, real traders, into electricity. That's something we were really pushing forwards because we believe that a token cannot be the product. The token must power a functional market. And we at What to Trade, we see that difference clearly. And our idea right now it's live and working. And currently our newest release is the rewards program that it's coming out very soon in the next days. So guys, stay on top of our social media to take a look at it. And basically this rewards program will incentivize the people that it's trading on our exchange. 80% of all the rewards are going to the traders, and I will be dropping in the chat a special code for you guys. So once the rewards portal is live, you can use that code to get extra experience points. That those experience points will be transformed into our token. The token is the Watoin, and also our token it's basically made to function with the exchange. So it will give governance rights in some decisions over the marketplace. It will give you also the utility because it's pegged to 1 kilowatt of electricity. It will give you basically free transactions over the platform while using the token. The token, it's really functioning with the market. So that's free. As a summary, for us, it was very important not to have the token as a product, but first develop all the products, the idea that it's real, that it's working, that it's something functional, that it's fun, that traders like it, that people like it. And we believe that we've done a pretty good job. We have been attracting real users, real traders into the platform. You can go, all you guys, go right now to exchange.whattotrade.com and start making your first electricity trade. And yeah, now we are pushing the token forward. We have this rewards program. We will be launching then the pre-sale and go for the TGE, and we are very eager for this. We have there's a lot of expectation between the community for this week, and yeah, we're very eager to launch our token.
I love this so much. We should do a collab. We should get some of these electricity traders. I want to speak to these people. When I first talked to Carlos, I just told him for an hour, just explain this to me. Clearly, I'm way too stupid to understand. But I didn't even realize that electricity was something you could trade. Carlos was just laughing for like 10 minutes. Like, of course you can trade anything, my friend. But yeah, I really like the concept. Exciting times. Asma, sorry, I'm taking the mic and I'm completely disorganizing the AMA. Let's move it along.
Yeah. So I really like how Carlos stressed the importance of developing a product that's not the token. And often when we see projects do that, one can assume that it might be, if they're not doing that, if they're, developing a product that is basically just the token, it might be because they are, let's say, hiding some other faults or cracks that they might have in their project. So all that to say, every cycle, it has buzzwords. We've seen many of them, like AI, the community owned, and all these utility stuff. But what claims would you say are most often used to hide weak fundamentals that you may have noticed? Do we want to have Lumera maybe jump first?
Yeah, for sure. I think if I guess tokenomics or product is overly complicated where the average person, even if you're trying to explain to them, they don't really understand. I think sometimes that might be a sign of there might be something weird going on here. I'm not trying to, point out any specific projects particularly, but historically I've seen certain projects where I've even talked to people who are very gifted mathematically, and they're like, I still can't make sense of what's going on over here. And I think if that's the case, then, typically then it's just okay, maybe there's some red flags going on here. Because I think it's almost as if if it's overly complicated and it's just oh yeah, you just don't get it. Just trust me, kind of energy going on. I think ultimately it's just like, yeah, if you have a product that, people can use, like, and can really have a tangible kind of connection towards it, I think that's a much better sign. It's just like, I mean, not to kind of like toot our own horn, but, for us, I just keep referring back to our storage. It's just like simple for people to understand, people to use, they're actively using it now. And, they're like, okay, great. You have a feasible product, and we could see how, other networks or other projects have a demand for this as well. And it just fosters way more confidence in the long run in that way, versus something that's kind of more fluffy in the air and, nothing's necessarily delivered in that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think you said what I wanted to say, but much more eloquently, actually. Yeah, that's an excellent way to put everything, I think. Do we want to have maybe Carlos? Do you have anything to add on that?
Carlos, the what to trade account, is it on my end, or did you guys drop off?
No, let me check, Rick. Just to answer to Asma, I think it's super important for the projects and to ask some questions. No, if this project really solving an issue, it's working, it's live, it's measurable. Of course, it's important to check out if the hype, if there's a hype of users really using it, what problem gets solved, why the token is required. I mean, this is important for all the projects. And when looking projects, I've seen a lot that, and I'm impressed, no, that only with the token they really raise money and there's nothing behind it or nothing supporting it, and that's really what amazed me and but also what motivates us, because we've been working on really developing something that users can really use, that it's simple, that you can get that done in your trades going on very easily. I think there's a potential collaboration with leagues of traders. We have in our exchange a leaderboard also for so everyone can check out what's the best trades, what's the best trader in electricity. It's a daily based electricity. We are all seeing gold, silver, copper, they are all reaping, but they all need one commodity behind to be mined and to be processed, that it's electricity. And we forget about that. We have hyper normalized in our lives electricity, and there's behind of it a complex high regulated markets that we have made that simple for everybody to have the power of their hands to start trading electricity. And that's something that we really like, and that's the mission of what to trade. And I think that's something that all projects have to take a look. If there's some guys here that planning to launch their token, they need to first think about this and start having a strategy over developing real and solving real problems. And I think that's something that needs to be on the scope when reviewing new projects, to be on top of them for their TGs.
Absolutely. So we kind of understood from that. Yeah, you cannot lie about the functionality or the purpose of a project. There actually has to be a real use for it. In addition to everything you just said, amazing. Aegis, sorry for my mispronunciation there. Do you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I guess you guys started talking about so many different things. Could you repeat the thought? I've been looking at trading electricity now on the background, so got a bit sidetracked.
That would be my bad. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the question is, every cycle we have all these buzzwords that come up: community owned, AI, utility, all that. And based off your personal experience, maybe if you had any claims that you noticed are most often used to hide weak fundamentals. That was the question.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, at this point, probably like a few years ago, like all the, I guess, quote unquote, vanity metrics and buzzwords were helping. You could see companies raise and projects do some pretty amazing ICOs and good returns, but I feel like, now we're kind of shifting a bit towards more of like fundamentals and I guess projects who actually make revenue, although that's maybe not fully reflected on the token prices. Like you could see some of the probably most or highest revenue generating projects with tokens and they still are not doing well. But I strongly believe that we are going into this direction where building something that is fundamentally and good and generates revenue will outplay the narratives and buzzwords. So yeah, although like with that being said, I mean it's still like that. I guess AI is still around there, and I don't know, like the past few days, all my feed is about Clawbot. So I guess probably there's a bunch of tokens created for that as well. But yeah, for us, like we stick to building something that we believe that will be the future. Finance is going on chain. Stable coin adoption is growing, and with all the AI buzz, we have not added AI to our website, although we could have to just drive the hype. I guess for us, we continue building with or without the narratives and buzzwords.
Just tying in here really quickly, how does a stable coin generate revenue? Right, I think that's something interesting to talk about because you mentioned, right, we're moving towards a future where revenue generating projects should or are becoming the norm. Tokens are not a project. Oh my God. I mean, we're so on the same page in that, right? I think we're totally of the same mind. But how is Aegis approaching this, right? How do you guys earn money by having a stable coin?
Yeah. So the main business model for us, we generate yield on the collateral. So we have two stable coins. One is BTC backed stable coin, and the other that we just launched is JLP backed. But fundamentally, what we do, we generate yield to users, and we take a percentage fees from that. And the basic idea with the fees or the fee switch is to both have enough funds for our treasury, and on the secondary part, we want to distribute the other half to our governance token holders. So in reality, the business, I guess, is quite simple, where we generate yield for users in a form of a stable coin, and we take a percentage from that, and again distribute half of it back to the token holders. So kind of creating this, I guess, a network effect. And yeah, we're also looking into like other forms of businesses where we could venture out, but at the foundation, it's a yield generating mechanism.
And then why back it by Bitcoin? What's the story behind that? Is there any special benefits there? Are you guys the first ones to do it as well?
Yeah. So the backstory there was a few years ago when USDC depegged. There was a bank run in the US, and we figured that some of these stablecoins are still dependent on traditional markets. You see, most of them are backed by short-term U.S. Treasuries, which is by the law required in the U.S. And what we wanted to build is something that is independent from that, independent from traditional markets, independent from other stablecoins. So what we have as a collateral is fully Bitcoin backed. And what that means in reality, half of the collateral is in Bitcoin spot position, and the other is in CoinM short position, making it delta neutral. And we effectively generate yield on this like basis trade, and have a stable coin that is not dependent on the traditional market.
I like that. Especially now, right? I mean, Carlos mentioned it. We've got these traditional minerals, right? Gold going absolutely parabolic right now. There's a clear need in the Web3 market, but also outside of it, there's a clear need to move away from fiat, right? It's so obvious now more than any time before. People see the instability, people see, the inflation, and they're thinking, right, we need alternatives. It hasn't been flowing into crypto as much, right? I mean, Bitcoin isn't necessarily performing really well, but stable coins have actually come out and become very quite popular. So yeah, I like what you guys are doing. It's a very curious approach, and it kind of overlaps as well with Carlos from What to Trade. So there's multiple builders here working on this. Really interesting stuff. Asma, I totally kidnapped it again. Let's move it forward, right? I think we want to talk in this last segment a little bit more about the red flags. One thing that we like to educate our traders on and ourselves, right, is how to do your due diligence. And this is always a segment that we manage to loop into our spaces, right? How to be educated, how to do your research, how to detect red flags, and how do you guys approach this? And I think it's interesting asking founders, how do you perform due diligence on a token, right? Because it's the opposite way around. I mean, they're the ones building the projects, but that's what I feel makes the question, even more interesting. So, for instance, Vincent from Lumera, when you're looking at a token and you're evaluating whether or not you think this will be a long-term solid investment, or you would run away from it. What are some things that you look at personally, right? More from a founder / core team perspective, more than a trading perspective. What insights can you give there?
Yeah, for sure. I guess this is more of my own personal opinion. I think everybody has their own views on, their own diligence methods and whatnot. I think fundamentally, number one, it's like the team is not. I know it's very typical for crypto teams to be just anonymous and whatnot, but I think with everything that's happened in the space, it's just too easy for actors to act maliciously and get away with it if they're just anonymous. I think the core founding team, as a participant in the network, sure, you could be anonymous or whatever. But I think the founding team, the team that's, really driving the project and things like that, they all need to, have their faces on the website. If not, it's showing on their LinkedIn or things like that. I think that's really critical as a first thing. I know LinkedIn is not necessarily, a truth source, because anybody can just add to a company or a project to their profile. But I think also a company where the team has social media presence in the means of going to conferences, meeting people, also showing up in maybe traditional media from time to time to speak on the general space. And I think ultimately the last thing is just, it goes back to is it simple for you to understand? I think something that I'm a huge foodie myself, so I'm a huge enjoyer of Japanese food specifically. And I think one, philosophy to take away from their style of cooking is that they really let the ingredients shine. They don't do too much to it. And I think oftentimes with certain cuisines or whatnot, they can overcomplicate things. But by doing so, you can kind of get away with not using the best ingredients. And so using this analogy, it's if the project is overly complicated and things like that, I think it kind of lends to are they trying to hide something? Why is it overly complicated where the average person can't really understand? And I think, that in itself is kind of something for people to consider and to think about. It's if I can't simply explain it to my mom and she doesn't really get it, then how do we assume that, the masses are going to kind of adopt, whatever these guys are building, so I guess that's just my 2 cents.
I actually love the analogy. What I used to use as my analogy was, if you hop on a meeting with someone and they have a whiteboard behind them, explaining their business model and it's an entire whiteboard full, run away. Right? I mean, if they can't explain it to you why people need this in 60 seconds and they need a whiteboard, it's no good, man. We don't need it. All right. But I like your Japanese cuisine one much more. So I'm just going to go ahead and steal it from you, my friend. I hope that's all right with you. Definitely will be doing that. Yeah. What about you, Aegis? The boys from Aegis. I mean, you guys, you're quite knowledgeable in this department, right? But of course, you don't need to answer representing Aegis, right? No financial advice, no strings attached. How do you do it, right? When you're looking at a project, when you're evaluating, is this something that I want to be interested in? How do you run your due diligence personally?
Yeah, great question. I mean, for me, what I like to do is look at the competition, kind of see if there's potentially new project launching, then looking at what could be the North Star for this particular project and what makes them better and what is I'd say, the upside from here. I guess in the most simple example could be even looked at stable coins or anything else. You see other players, you see how big they are, what's their token value, and then could be a good way to evaluate investments for other tokens. So I'd say that's primarily for me, and the other is, of course, although kind of going against what I said before, at least for the time being, it's still narrative driven. Although now I guess I mainly look at precious metals. I feel like that's that's where the market's going. So stacking up on some silver and gold and anything else, but yeah, so I guess looking for places to trade actually metals on chain. Although, the joke was, I think at the beginning of the space we talked about Binance listings, and Binance listed silver and gold. So you guys know that it's the top signal for that as well. So yeah, but I guess yeah, that's where I'm at with trading right now.
Yeah, man, it makes sense. Look, and I've seen a lot of like projects now, tokenizing gold, right? Or tokenizing metals. There's a lot of stuff going on, and honestly, I feel a lot of stuff in Web3 is just kind of like people winging it. They just have a couple of buzzwords, right? Tokenizing, decentralization. They just smack whatever is going somewhat viral outside of the bubble, and they just bring it in. And hey, I mean, props to those people that do it successfully, right? I mean, there's some big, shiny, new objects in the space that are following that playbook and having a lot of success with it. Good for them, I suppose. But yeah, I always feel like when I look at these precious metals, gold, I feel like I'm a bit late to the train if I'm going to invest into it now, right? I mean, but I said that 2 years ago, and now here we are. So, you know what? Maybe I should be listening to Carlos instead. He's been doing better when it comes to traditional investment than I have. Carlos, what is your process?
Yes, Rick, thank you. So I agree with Vincent. I think the reputation of the team behind the projects is one of the most important things you should be looking at. Of course, your due diligence has to go all the way to legal structure. What are they building? What are they solving? But reputation is fundamental. From our side, we saw that as a competitive advantage from us because we saw some projects that founders don't go news, or they are not trying to be the face of the projects, and that's one of the biggest red flags from my perspective, and that's something that we really wanted to not be doing. And from our perspective, always doing business from the past 14 years in the Mexican, the US, and Central American market, we've been doing pretty well. We participate a lot in businessman associations that help government having a better regulation and a better climate for everybody, for investment and everything. And from our perspective, that's super important because we are building not only the project but reputation, and from us that's super important, regardless of what we are building. And that's for us being the face of the project, that's important. So I totally agree in that part with Vincent. Also, I mean, just to be on top of it, it's what problem are you solving? For example, we saw the need from our companies in the Mexican market and the US market that it wasn't accessible for everyone to trade electricity. There's complex regulation, high entry barriers, and what we built, we've seen that really works for energy company, really works for prosumers, people that it's producing or consuming electricity on their household. It really works, for example, also for crypto miners that want to hedge their electricity consumption and know exactly what price they will be buying electricity in order to have revenues over while mining Ethereum or Bitcoin. So I would say these two things. The reputation is super important of the team. What are they doing? What's their experience? There's a big internet footprint about everybody. If you ask anyone about on ChatGPT, they will tell you basically everything about or any AI. They will tell you everything about anybody. So that's super important to do a big due diligence there, and also the problem they are solving. That's important to really understand the business model, and I think that's one of the two fundamentals when taking a look over a project, Rick.
Yeah, what people often don't understand, right, is that most investors invest into an individual, not into a project, right? So they don't necessarily, obviously they'll look at your tokenomics, they'll look at, the listings that you've got lined up, they'll look at the business model. Obviously that needs to be aligned, right? But, and I find myself guilty of this as well. You invest in a charismatic character at the forefront, right? If I like a founder, if I see a founder is dedicated, in the trenches, doxed, right, all or nothing, I like that, right? It gives me the feeling like we're in it together. If I can get along with someone. So I align myself a lot with what you guys are saying. That is, what I look for as well. One more piece of my mind anyways is if you run any form of due diligence on a project, whether or not you're interested, and again, this is not financial advice in the slightest, but have a look, and this is the boring stuff, but have a look at their distribution, right? What we mentioned in the beginning, there's a lot of parties that could tank a token on arrival, right? During launch, it could be a market maker, it could be a centralized exchange, it could be an advisor, it could be KOLs, it could be a way too large of an airdrop. Have a look at these things, right? It's not a rocket science. A token will do well if there's no sell pressure, right? So that's not to say that you can only or should only invest in a token if it has 0% sell pressure, right? That's unrealistic, but that for me is the biggest red flag. Together with, Carlos and Vincent, what you said, having a good founder presence. All right, cool. Yeah, guys, I think that's been wonderful. Asma, I know that we've got some cool goodies for the audience. Why don't we shower them with some love?
Absolutely. So before we do that, I do just want to say a big thank you to our panelists for all of the wisdom that was shared today. And I'm also going to also say big thank you to Rick for being such an amazing co-host. Always leading the conversation exactly where it should go. And then I'm also going to say, if you're interested in getting involved with League of Traders or checking out the trader map once again, head on to our page, check it out, have a look. But yeah, with all that said, we have some users that we're going to shout out. And if you hear your username, please send us a DM right now, and we'll send over a little gift to you in the next day. So the first user I'm going to shout out is Farumka5. We saw all the questions. we couldn't get to them today, but thank you so much for your enthusiasm. We appreciate you listening. And then also Hunter X 0007 as well. Thank you for joining us for today's call, and we'll send over something just as a little thank you.
Yeah, I love it. And Asma, we couldn't do it without you. You know that, all right? It's amazing hosting together. Really, really good stuff. And yeah, likewise, guys. Big thanks to the panel. It's been a fantastic conversation. Thank you to everybody in the audience as well. Been a lot of fun. I think we have some more giveaways. Carlos, if I remember correctly, you guys brought some goodies as well for the upcoming portal, for some of the League of Trader community to benefit from.
Yes, Rick. So guys, please check the comments. We will be placing there a referral code for the rewards portal. Please have that. Once we launch that, use that referral code and you will get some extra experience points for that will be transformed to Watoin, to our token, once the portal it's launched.
All righty, good stuff. All right, check out the comments, guys. Always lovely getting an extra bit of alpha here from one of the panelists. So I appreciate you, good sir. Also, if you haven't done it already, give the official League of Traders account and everybody else on the panel a quick little follow. These guys are building amazing stuff. And of course, right, League of Traders, you guys really, really, really awesome platform. I love hosting with you. We're going to be live again next week. We do this every single week, guys, at the same time. So we're super pumped to welcome you again for our next episode. Everybody on the panel's got amazing stuff lined up. So definitely keep your eyes on the timeline. Lots of launches happening. I love launches, right? And yeah, we should definitely connect after this and see if there's some other cool collaboration opportunities lined up for us. Asma, anything I missed?
No, you hit the nail on the head.
Perfect. All right. Well, cheerio, guys. It was a great space. See you guys in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Rick, and thanks for hosting, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.